let's get our theme going here. So for the month of May and a special focus today on feet, legs, and hips. So we concentrate on feet and working with them with the idea in mind. It's very helpful to have good balance through working with your feet. They are particularly helpful, that focus in standing poses, and we'll do some of those towards the latter part of the class. So for today, we need minimal props, and what will really be helpful is a block, a belt, and for later on, maybe a cushion for your yoga relaxation, and initially to sit on so that you're sitting more upright. So if you want to grab those things, and then we'll begin. So take a seat on a cushion. It just will help you to bring your pelvis into alignment. And you might do that just to start in a seated position, either sitting kneeling or sitting cross-legged. Just adjust your hips so that they're slightly back. And you could do that by leaning forward and drawing the sitting bones back away from the legs. And then once you're stable in your pose and comfortably upright, let's just focus on breathing in a particular way. So if you bring your hands onto your lower ribs and place the thumbs towards the rear and cup your hands around the front ribs, take a moment, shoulders relaxed, face relaxed, and breathe into the circumference of your rib cage. We don't usually do this. We usually breathe, I think, predominantly at the front body. So you might want to close your eyes for this so you can feel better the sensation of breathing. And as you breathe in, feel the rib cage spring open. And then as you breathe out, it just relaxes back to its starting position. With your thumbs towards the rear of your rib cage, feel the breath there, the breath contacting the back ribs and releasing. And you could lengthen both the inhalation and the exhalation a little bit to better feel the two phases. And then release your hands back down onto your legs or into your lap. Relax your shoulders all over again. And continue that breathing, simple in and out, inhalation, exhalation, but with a little bit more sensation on the back ribs. Maybe every exhalation, releasing the shoulders a little bit more. Feel the waves of your breath. And they're lapping up against the back ribs, the side ribs, the front ribs. All right, and then just finishing there and opening your eyes again. And then take up your belt or whatever you have that resembles a belt. And extend your legs out. This may look a little odd on the Zoom because my feet will look very big in comparison to the rest of me. But that's all right. That means you can see them better. So step your heels out a few inches. And then bring your strap onto your let's say right foot. If you wrap it around so it crosses in the back, when you bring it around the front, you'll have two ends of the strap, sort of like a puppeteer. And we'll work with just simple flexion of your foot and your ankle. So stretch your right foot away from you. Bring your right foot back towards you. Let's do that for a few times. And feeling that action in your ankle. And tuning in a little bit more, you'll feel that come all the way up through your leg muscles. Or at least that's what I'm experiencing. So dorsiflexion to plantiflexion. Good, and then pause there so that your foot feels like it's in a more neutral position. And then if you tug a little bit on the left hand side of the strap, turn your foot in. And then pulling on the other side, turn your foot out. So let's do this as kind of a rolling action, internally rotating, externally rotating. And if you can do this, all the better if you can do it without twisting your knee or turning your leg. So it really is a foot and an ankle action. Just kind of waking up the ligaments and the tendons, all the foot bones. And then pause in the center again. And if you pull a little bit more on the left-hand side and then resist against that pull, so you're trying to keep your foot facing forward, it's a whole different sensation, a stronger sensation. Where do you feel that? And then taking the other side of the strap and pulling lightly on it where you're trying to turn your foot back to center. And where is it that you feel that in your leg muscles or even your hip muscles? And then let's do that one more time each side, turning your foot in, resisting that as you try to turn your foot back to center, and then tugging lightly onto the right side and turning. And keep coming back to the sensations of connecting with the rest of the leg and the hip. And then let's take the strap off for a moment. Bend your right knee in towards your chest, slide your right foot in towards your buttock, and then lift that foot entirely off the floor and rest it on your left leg. We're going to work with the toes right now. So if you can do this, slip your fingers between the spaces of the toes and grab hold of them. This is more easily done if you have a little bit of moisturizer or even talc powder to get in those spaces because they can be quite tight. And then once you've done that, then give a movement to your toes forward and back and forward and back. And maybe even rotating them in both directions. Okay, and a movement that I like, and see if you like it too. So I've got my ankle resting onto my left thigh. Best not to have it on the knee. And then grab hold like a fistful of your toes and rotate your toes around and the ankle as well. You're going to notice these movements, particularly if you have had an ankle sprain or a break in the foot bones at all, even the toe bones. And in the way that one foot may be really different than the other. Right. and then give your foot a shake out, and then extend the leg out, right leg and left leg extended, and take a moment. It's always good to consolidate here and feel what that side feels like. What does your right foot feel like? Mine feels quite a bit lighter than it did. And then let's start all over again on the left foot and taking the strap up. So you have those two ends. And let's go from pointing your foot and drawing the toes back towards the knee, flexing in those two directions. And then working with rotation, turning your foot in, turning your foot out. Kind of a rolling movement. It's not even tugging very much. You can do a lot of this with just turning your foot without the belt. But now we'll work with resistance again. So tugging lightly on the outside of your foot, drawing the foot into externally rotating, and then resist against that and feel which muscles switch on to help you with that. And then the other side, and drawing the foot into internal rotation and then resist against that. Inner and outer thigh muscles will be affected by this. And once more, that external rotation, internal rotation, and pressing out, and then releasing, and we'll take the belt off again. Draw the left foot in towards you, lift it up onto your right leg, or hold it in your hands, and then slip your fingers into those spaces between the toes. And then give your foot a bit of back and forth movement through the toes. I can rotate them. And then finally the ankle movement. So you're rotating the whole foot in the ankle. One direction and then the other direction. All right, and then place the feet together again. Extend out the left leg and feel for a moment the sensations in your left foot. Good. And while we're there, and while I think you have a pretty good view of my feet, let's try this other movement, which might be helpful for you just generally, but also especially in the standing poses. So at the base of your right foot, the big toe bone, the base of the big toe, if you draw the big toe base towards the inner heel, it lifts the arches of your foot and makes your foot a little bit more compact. So if you go the other way and you let the foot just be completely slack, for some people this means that the arch isn't very active and it's dropped, which leads to flat feet. So see if you can bring that sensation of big toe towards the inner heel towards the big toe, both feet. And it helps me work my ligaments, tendons in my feet, and then I can feel that as a ripple-on effect through my lower legs and my upper legs into my hips. So we can't really maintain that necessarily. Let it go, and then just give your feet a bit of a shake out. But we'll see whether we can bring that back, especially in the standing poses. And now I'll get you to lie down on your mat. But keep the strap with you. And once you're lying down, if you just leave the strap to the side for a moment and take this first step where you kind of nuzzle your hips and your sacrum into the floor. Draw your shoulders down and feel your shoulder blades onto the floor as well. And then from here, in this position, your legs bent, your feet on the floor near to your buttocks. Bend your right knee into your chest and slip the belt onto your right foot again. And in that way of having the two ends of the belt, that's really helpful. So you can work symmetrically here, so one hand holding each side of the strap. With the leg extended as it is, let's just flex the knee softly and then work with extension and flexion. A little knee bend, in other words, a little straightening. Feel the heaviness of the right leg back into the right hip and towards the floor. And then let's take the straight leg version and keep the thigh bone into the hip, down into the weight of it down into the floor. And then take up the belt just into your left hand and hold along the belt closer to your foot. Extend your right arm out from your right shoulder. Now your left leg is still bent, your foot on the floor. Let your left knee drop out to the left, and then take your right leg out to the right. You're only going to travel a little distance out to the right, and it's matched by the turn out and the stretch through the left leg to the left. Holding the belt into your left hand like this allows you to bring weight back to the left side of your body. So you're not going to tip over to the right side. And then feel the extension here. Try a little knee bend, bending and straightening. And once more, for sure I can feel it, right up into the thigh muscles and into the hip joint. A little bend, a little straighten. Good. Hold the static position with the leg relatively straight. Feel that you're still turning back towards the left side. And then let's bring the leg all the way up, more or less vertical. Left knee up, and then do a crossover and cross the right leg in front of the left leg as you let the left knee go towards the right. I know that's a lot of rights and lefts. Still holding the belt into your left hand and extending with a kind of a squeezing movement through the thigh muscles. Feel the adductor muscles, the inner thigh muscles waking up, and maybe even the pelvic floor there. Good. And then let's bring that leg back to center, and we'll start all over on the second side. And right foot to the floor behind your right buttock. Bend your left leg in and strap up. It's a little bit of an exercise, just knee bend and strapping. All right, and those really simple movements, bend and straighten, but without great consideration of how that all those movements are connected. Pushing up towards the ceiling, straightening. Feel the front thigh muscle, Feel the back thigh muscle. And then straight leg. Imagine that you have a weight onto the left foot, pressing up towards the ceiling, and then a kind of rebound back down into the hip joint where the thigh bone's heavy into the hip. And then take up your belt into your right hand, left arm out, and let the right knee drop to the right. And with a good grip onto the belt, take the left leg left. Good. And stop at the point where you start to lift off of the right side. Keep the right side well grounded by turning the trunk from left to right. And then let's do a little knee bend, left leg, straighten. And how does this feel on this side? Is there a difference? And where does that difference lie? All right, and then a static stretch through the left leg. Feel the right groin extended as well. And then bringing that leg back up to the vertical. Going to let the right knee move to the left, the left leg move to the right. I'm going to move up the belt with my hand. And in that crossover, see if you can intensify the feeling of the legs crossing by toning the inside thigh muscles, squeezing them together. Good. All the while, face is relaxed, shoulders are still relaxed. And then bring that leg back to the center. Slip the belt off and both feet on the floor. I've just noticed I'm a little bit skewed to one side, so centering my hips with my trunk again. And then extend your legs out. And without being able to see your feet, just dorsiflex and plantarflex your feet. So pointing your toes away from you, drawing your toes back. And while you're doing this as well, extend your arms overhead. And feel one long line of your body from your fingertips and to your toe trips when you point your toes. Beautiful. And then bring your arms forward and down. Bend your legs. Have your feet close to your buttocks. And this is where you'll want to use your block. So find your yoga block, or if you don't have one of those, then a cushion will do as well, to hold between your knees. Not between your knees, actually, between your thighs. Knees are a bit bony. So you're not gripping hard against the belt, you're just holding it in place to keep the alignment of the hips and the knees. And then arms out to the side. We're going to work through a few bridges variations here. Turn your palms down to the floor and feel with your arms straight alongside your body, when you press your palms down, that you can really anchor your upper part of your back and your shoulder blades. And we're going to work with that initially. So, tilt your pelvis under, draw your tailbone away from you, and lift up slowly and only to the level of their bottom shoulder blades. So as you press your hands down, press your shoulder blades down, and then exhale and come back down to the ground. Lengthen your tailbone away from you, inhaling, lifting up, and exhale, lowering down. So it's just a really small, minimal back bend. And then holding that block in place, coming up once more with your breath. And with your breath coming back down to ground. We'll do one more. Feel the breath in your back body in that manner that you did with your focused breathing right at the beginning of our session. Feel the breath in your back body, even when you exhale. Good. And then pause there, relaxed. And we'll come up into a more lifted bridge this time, if you like. But, measure this against your today's ability or whatever limitations might show up before you. So inhaling, lifting your hips up. This time, turn your arms out. And as your hips are at the higher level now, you might start to lift your shoulder blades off the floor too. And exhale, lowering back down. Turn your palms down to the floor. Anchor your back once again. Here we go, lifting off, inhaling. Roll your arms out on those inhalations and then in on the exhalations. And once more. Maybe this is your highest level so far. Hold it there. Release any tension around your tailbone. But nevertheless, lift with your buttock muscles and your outer thighs. And then exhaling and back down to ground. Turning your palms down and releasing there. We'll stay with the block held between the thighs, but walk your feet in closer to you and lift your heels. So you're going to be on the ball of your foot now and working more with that foot focus. Roll in a little towards the big toe side of the foot. Feel your big toe bone press down. And then let's see what happens with the heel raise and you come up into your back bend once more. Roll your arms out. Come up to any level that you're prepared to do at this time. And then roll back down to the ground. What different sensations do you experience with the heels up? Let's come up again. And maybe take another breath or two in that raised position. Release the muscles around the tailbone and feel it if you can lift a little bit more from the backs of your thighs with the help of your hamstrings. And then coming back down, keep the weight towards the inner foot, big toe base, and all the way down. And just one more there. Coming up, as much or as little as you feel to at the moment, and towards your shoulders. Feel like your tailbone is drawing away from you. And you're getting that almost like a hydraulic lift from your back thigh muscles. And coming down again. And all the way down. And then once you take your block away to the side, lower your feet. Your feet are just a couple of inches apart now. Let your knees rest against each other and soften on the inner leg muscles. Feel like the legs can be slackened now. All right, we're going to roll over into an all fours position. Something resembling cat pose. And have your hands placed underneath your elbows and your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Let's start with a little of that fancy footwork again and extend the left leg back behind you tuck your toes under, so you're on the balls of the feet. And then lean back into that left leg and give the leg a really good back leg stretch. And maybe I feel it very much in the calf muscles here. And then take the heat off the stretch and come forward slightly. You're actually coiling your toes a little bit more when you come forward. And then back onto that left foot, extending the left heel away, moving the hips back. Good. And then once more coming forward. Feel your chest open forward when you come forward. And then third time, and buttocks back, stretch back, and forward again. Good. And then let's stay with that side. At any point, if this is too strong on your wrists, come down onto your elbows. That's just as fine a position. And then from here, lift your right foot off the left foot off the floor. Bend your left knee into your chest. Tuck in for that. Use your core muscles tucking in, and then re-extend the leg. Open your chest forward. You don't even have to lift your head. You're just bringing the breastbone forward. Tucking in, stretching it out. Beautiful. Tuck it in, stretch it out, and then bringing left knee towards the right knee. Good. And pausing for a moment. Let's stay on that side once again and lift your left knee off the floor. Take your left leg back behind you, but with the leg bent this time. Flex your left foot. Have the sole of your left foot face the ceiling, and your leg up, maybe just to whatever level is fine, but no higher than hip height. Good. And then let's take the leg out to the side where the knee is in line with the left hip. And then back to bending the leg, sole of the foot facing the ceiling, left knee out at a right angle to the left hip, opening that groin out. Once more back to center, and sole of the foot, push it up towards the ceiling. And one more time out to the side. And time to take a break and bringing that knee in. And do bring your elbows down this time. Bring them back a little bit for your version of child's pose. All right. And then let's start all over again on the left side, with the right leg. And starting by extending that leg back behind you. Good. Tuck your toes under, and then let's stretch back into the right leg. Moving back, then moving slightly forward. All those 5 toes coiled well, and then second time leaning back. You might notice that, and then coming forward, you might notice that one side, the calf muscles feel much tighter. If you're a walker, you walk in the bush or you walk around town, these are really great exercises to do to loosen up that calf muscle. All right, and then pausing in the center, bend your right knee into your chest, bring it right in, extend it right out. Avoid any leaning onto the left side. So we're trying to keep the hips right in the center, kind of a light squeeze of the hips to center. And this time bringing the knee in, extending out. and then taking a short break, knee to knee. Good. Right your balance to center if you need to. Good. And then lifting your right knee and bringing it back behind the line of the body. Keep the right leg bent. Adjust the right foot so that it's parallel with the ceiling. And then sort of push up with a little bit of resistance as though you had a weight on that foot. Then knee to knee and take the right knee out to the right side at a right angle. Back into center. Leg back behind you, lift that knee, open your chest forward, knee to knee, and then taking the right knee up and out to the right side. Beautiful. And then back down for a rest. Take a couple of deeper breaths. Feel the breath circumferentially again so that it's in the back ribs, the side ribs, the front ribs. Let's do one more movement just to help strengthen your arm muscles. We've been working so much with your legs. Come back into neutral cat, so your back relatively straight. Extend your right leg back behind you. Tuck your toes under. And then from here, if you can, if you choose to, then lift your left knee off the floor. So you're bringing much more weight onto those coiled toes behind you. Good. And then swap. And taking the left leg back behind you. Tuck under. Good. Strong hand pressure. Strong upper arm muscles. And lifting the knee up. Keep your chest open forward. And then let's do one more round each side. Make sure that you're still breathing. My arm muscles are developing a little bit of a shake. Time to come down. Last side. And then let's give a chance for the arms to recover in child's pose. Elbows down, elbows back. Let your shoulders fall out, your shoulder blades drop out. All right, well, we're well disposed now for downward facing dog pose. So hands forward again. The approach through cat pose is a really lovely way to enter the pose. So lift your upper back muscles up towards the ceiling, tuck your toes under, lift your knees. And staying with the foot focus, keep your weight on the backs of the toes, lift your heels as high as you can, and then lift your buttock bones as high as you can. Bend your knees slightly. With knees flexed, tilt your buttock bones up towards the ceiling. And then finally, keep the buttocks high, but slowly lower your heels. Slowly lower your heels. Maybe you have a little more advantage for the heels coming down because we did those calf muscle stretches. I don't know. And then to release from downward facing dog pose and to work with your arm strength again, take one
Step back with your hands towards your feet, a little step back. Pause. Another little step back, pause. And keep going like that. If you need to bend your knees, by all means do that. Until your hands are back towards your feet. And let's stay with Uttanasana. Fold your arms and rest your hands into the crease of your elbows. Let your head release. Bend your knees as little or as much as you need, but otherwise work towards straightening them. And you might feel the breath a little bit more into the back of your body here, where your kidneys are, the bottom rib cage area. All right, and then to release from the pose, drop your arms, press your feet, and inhale, and slowly roll up to standing. Finally, we're off the ground. Well, not completely. Our feet are grounded. So take up your yoga block, and you'll need a wall space. So move anything out of the way that you need to. And then place your block right near to the wall. I've got it parallel with the skirting board. And then step up onto the block. So my right side's facing the wall. I'm going to step up my right foot. And I still have my left foot toes onto the floor. I'm feeling into the toes. There's a gap between my right side and the wall, but it's there for safety and for comfort if I need it. And then lifting the left foot entirely off the floor and balancing on your right foot. So now you're very reliant on your stance on your right foot. And feel the connection with your ankles again. Is there a firmness there? And can you draw up the arch of the right foot? And then balancing there, you might need support from the wall, but maybe you won't at all. And then do a few hip swings. So left leg forward and back. And if we go slowly, it has you mobilize your leg muscles a little bit more. Good to have a focal point that you're staying with. Good. And then halt so that the leg is just hanging free. And then let's see what a side movement is like. So taking the leg out to the center of the room, away from the wall. These are really great exercises to work towards free balancing with the strength of your legs, the strength of your feet. Okay, good. And then take that left foot and place it on the right foot. At the moment, I have a lean in towards the wall. There's a kind of sag in my right hip. So see if you can pull that hip in away from the wall, right hip in away from the wall. And maybe even create that feeling of squeezing the top thighs a little bit. Notice if you've recruited some of the muscles from your shoulders. Relax your shoulders, relax your face. And then finally step down and give your legs a bit of a shake out. That right leg was working very hard. And I've been doing these all week, so
Mine are really feeling the experience. So step up onto your block, second side, left foot supported. And then you start with your right foot toes on the floor, just back to what you know to be good posture, the chest lifted. And then lifting your right foot entirely off the floor, and just those gentle movements for your hip, forward and back. And tune in there. Notice when you come forward, which muscles do you engage to bring the leg into flexion? What muscles do you use to bring the leg back behind you into extension? Good. And then pause there. Feel the support through the left foot, the arch of the foot, the ankle bones, and then leg out to the side, back to center. Sideways movement, back to center. Good. Keep your breath flowing. Keep your focus. All right, and then place your right foot on your left foot. See how near you might come to free balancing, a light touch onto the wall. And then draw that left hip in away from the wall. Squeeze the hips together. Maybe squeeze the upper thighs together. Good. And release and come down. All right. We are going to take up some standing poses momentarily. But before we do that, we'll do one more foot exercise. So have your block away from the wall, back in the middle of your mat. And facing the block, step your forefoot of your left foot up onto the block. So it's just really where the balls of my feet are. And then to do that, I've got one foot in front of the other. See if you can take a small step forward with your right foot. And once more, where are we? What territory are we in? Back leg, calf muscle, Achilles. If you can, then take a further step forward. I have a very tight ankle on this side, so I know where to stop. That's probably a good place to stop. So my feet are not quite parallel, but yours might be. And then bringing back your good posture again, the chest high, shoulders relaxed. All right, and then let's see what the second side is like. And stepping up. And opposite foot steps forward. This is my so-called good side, so I'm going to come even a little bit forward, maybe even forward of the block. That's pretty radical. Good. Keep the front of the hips lifted, those two crests of your hips drawing up towards your ribs, your shoulders, broad. Okay. And then let's put this together for some standing poses and keep your block handy. And come to stand on your mat with your legs apart, about 1 meter apart. Turn your feet to the right. Let's do a couple of shoulder rolls, backwards, forwards. Good.
And we'll work with Warrior 2 first. Bring your hands onto your hips and bend your right leg. We've been so diligent, anatomy-oriented. So even here, keep the patella just above the ankle and draw the thigh bone back into the hip. Allow the knee to drop back slightly. So it's pointing towards the little toe side of the foot. And see now if you can recreate the arch of that right foot. So drawing the ball of the right big toe back towards the heel, heel towards the toe, and then extend the arms. Good. Then look over to the right side, look over your right shoulder, look all along your right arm, and extend back through your left arm. Feel your feet strongly and the way that they connect with your ankles, both ankles firm, both arches lifted. Good. You can keep your arms up as we switch through to the second side. So as you're ready, straightening the right leg, turning the feet to the left. Rest the arms in between if you need to, by all means. Bend the left leg. And feel the sensation of drawing the left thigh bone back into its hip. And then though you're looking along the left arm, stretch back into the right arm, right leg, right ankle. Chest is nice and high and the shoulders roll down. Good. Look forward, straight, left leg, feet forward. Bring your hands onto your hips. And turn your feet to the right again. Take time, feel the whole circumference of your feet, the right foot and the left foot as well. It makes such a difference when we bring our intelligence into our feet in coordinating with all of the rest of the parts of our body. And then bend your right leg. We'll move into Parsvakonasana here. So right leg bend, the knee pointing towards the little toe side of the foot. Do a lean over your right leg and place your elbow just above your knee. Palm upwards. And then pause there and lengthen back into your left leg. Lift the arch of the left foot. And then bringing your left arm in front of your body, big circular movement. Extend the left arm to the right. Draw your shoulders back from your neck. And keep that right leg bent and bring the torso up and arms out wide to the side. Drop your left arm onto your left leg. Turn your right palm up towards the ceiling and do a lean towards the left side. Open up the right side of your body. Good. And then arms out to the side, straight right leg, turn your feet to center, turn your feet to the left. Good. Let's bend the left leg. Draw the thigh bone back into the hip. Feel your footing. And then bend your left elbow, left thigh. Bring your arm in front of your body, big circular movement, and bringing it out to the left side. So see if you can lighten some of the weight onto your elbow. And lift up that side of your body, turn it forward slightly. And then we've got the sensation through the feet,
a rebound of energy through the ankles, up into the lower legs, upper legs. Beautiful. And coming up, the knee stays bent, arms out to the side. Drop right arm, right leg, left palm up towards the ceiling, and then a slight lean to the right side, opening up the ribs. Good. And then straight left leg, feet to center, and happily stepping back. Let's take relaxing Uttanasana. Fold your arms and take your forward fold. Knees slightly bent. Let the arms weigh heavily and draw the side ribs down, the outer shoulder blades down. Bring your awareness into the back body and feel that kidney area, the bottom of your rib cage. Every exhalation, releasing any tension from there. Beautiful. And then dropping your arms, knees come forward and loose arms come all the way up to standing. All right. And then last of the standing poses, bring your hands onto your hips and step out a little bit wider, if you will, so that you're preparing for Prasarita Padatanasana, wide forward fold position. And then take a little while. Your feet are really positioned well for you to have a look at them. Open the spacing between your toes, wide as you can. And then invert your feet so you're rolling onto the inner arch of your foot. Roll onto the outer arch of your foot. Go back and forth just a couple of times in and out. And then find neutral, where you're making your feet very compact, lifting the inner arches of the feet, but also the outer arches of your feet. And then from your strong footing, draw the leg muscles up into the hips and come partially down towards the floor, a third of the way, a half of the way down. And then you've positioned your block so you can take the block up to bring it into the center and bring the heels of your hands onto the top of the block. Keep your arms straight here. Do a slight lean forward. And now you've got the map of the legs established really well here towards the end of the class. And feel the back legs from the backs of your knees to your buttock bones drawing up. And maybe the calf muscles drawing down into the heels. Then pump up your chest a little bit and feel the chest high and light and coming forward, open, easy to breathe. And then for the last part, if you're prepared to, then bring your hands down onto the mat. Otherwise, if you're not reaching the mat, stay with the block and then walk your hands back and bring your buttocks slightly forward. So we're going to stay with the sensation of the hamstring stretch right at the top of your thighs. Feel the abdominal area lifting up, the core muscles lifting up into the body, and release your head down. Release the entire weight of your head from the back of your neck to the crown of your head. Notice if the feet have lost some of that sensitivity and reanimate them. Feel the arches, the ankles really strong. And let's begin to release from the pose and walk your hands a little forward. Soften the backs of your knees. Bring your hands onto your hips.
inhale and come up and walk your feet back to center. Good. And then give your legs and your feet a good shake out. Very good. And then come to sit on your mat. Sit at the appropriate height. Have enough padding underneath your hips so that you can easily sit upright. And we'll do a very simple twist here. Bring your right hand onto your left hand onto your right knee, your right hand behind you. Sukhasana twist, and having established the good posture, don't lose that as you turn to face towards the right. And rather than pulling with your hands or pushing with your hands at all, then use your breath. Inhale fully, exhale fully. And let's turn back to center and change the cross of your legs. And ready to go to the left, right hand, left knee, left hand behind you. That back hand, the hand behind you, is like a second spine. And once you press down, then you can lift up there as well as through the spinal column. And with your breath. All right, and then release back and set yourself up for the yoga relaxation. Cushion for your head. An extra blanket to throw over you for warmth. A bolster behind the backs of your knees. Anything that will contribute to maximum comfort for your lying down position. A soft scarf or an eye pillow for your eyes. And then, as you did at the beginning of the session, feel into the back of your body to create a place that you can feel supported, that you can let go into. So you do that by feeling the weight of the points of contact with the back body and yielding the body to the floor, to the props. Draw your shoulders well down from your neck. Tuck your shoulder blades down. And just let your feet, your legs drop out, and your arms soften through the crease of your elbows. And because you worked with your feet through beginning to end practically, open the spacing between your toes, stretch them a little bit, little toes too, and then release your toes. Feel into the inner arches of your feet, and with your attention there, relax those arches. Coming up through the inner leg, feel the inner knees and soften there. The inner thighs, the inseam of your legs, the inner groins. Begin to feel that the legs, the feet, kind of emptied out of any tension, any residual tension. Feel the pelvis in the way that it's supported. And relax from the front of the pelvis back towards the back of the pelvis and the buttocks. The whole body moving into yielding, softening. And the musculature of the body now idle, unemployed. Totally relaxed. And finally, relax your facial features. The eyes, the eyelids, down to the eyelashes, like a soft blind that's drawn down. And the eyes falling back into their respective hollows, unfocused, unmoving, pacified. And without moving at all just yet, Bring up your awareness of your body, the whole body, a global sense of your body. And then to wake up the various parts, you might curl your toes, stretch your toes, open and close your hands. Feel your hands still soft like baby's hands. And then gradually bend your knees up towards you and roll onto your side and just hang out there for another few breaths. And be very gentle and slow and come up to a seated position once again. And we'll finish this session in the ritual way of joining hands in front of the chest in prayer position. Once more, closing your eyes if you wish, and lift your elbows a little bit, open the sides of your chest, the breastplate, and taking time to be with yourself in this quiet way. Acknowledging yourself for getting yourself here and onto your mat again. Where your hands are placed, center chest in front of the heart center. Feel your own goodness there, your own goodwill. And I thank you for practicing with me and especially getting grounded through this theme of working with the feet, the legs, and the hips. Namaste. Thank you.